Hello everybody, good day to you. Welcome back. Glad you guys are here. I know I am super glad to be here. Check this out. Oh, look what we have there. We have a Mopar remanufactured CVT transmission. This unit belongs to 2016 Jeep Compass Latitude 4x4. The vehicle is in dire need of a replacement or a repaired transmission. It barely made it here under its own power. It fell on its face and does not shift. It feels like it goes into neutral. There is no transmission action. So we have ordered a replacement reman unit, and we're gonna go ahead and get the vehicle on the rack. We're gonna take it apart, pull the trans out, swap it with the new reman unit, and get this thing back on the road. So stay tuned, because this is going to be a very good long kind of video. It's definitely going to be kind of long because transmissions do not come in and out easily. Starting the engine with, what do we have here? 105,171 miles on a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder Jeep. Let's see if it'll back up and get out of its own way here. Yeah, we're moving. Okie dokes. Cool. Let's swing her around. I think I'm gonna back it. Actually, I'm not gonna swing it around. I'm gonna back it into the corner using the large lift in the corner. That way it's out of the way and I can work on smaller things in the meantime. That's the plan. Backing up, backing in, swinging the corner, into the shop we go. Now, I believe I need to drop the entire subframe cradle assembly out of this, get the engine and trans assembly on the ground, and then separate the two units. Then I can remove the old one, install the new one, and then put the entire assembly back up into the car. I think that's the way this is going to have to function here. All right, let's take a peek under the bonnet. Fiat Jeep, 2.4 liters. All right, the rack is set on passenger side. The rack is set on the driver's side. Green subscribe button. Moving on up. All the way up. You need to pull the battery, pull the wheels, disassemble a bunch of front suspension, drain the fluids, remove all the plastics, and then we'll go ahead and unbolt the subframe, set it up on jack stands, then we'll pick the car up off of the subframe, leaving the entire drivetrain down on the ground so I can work on it. All right, so we're up in the air, wheels are off. What I'm gonna do is disconnect the brake calipers and hang those from the body, because we're gonna unbolt the struts, we're gonna unbolt the subframe, we're gonna let the car down, put the subframe on jack stands, finish unbolting it, and then lift the whole assembly, or lift the whole car off the assembly. So we're leaving the brakes here, that way I don't have to open up the hydraulic system, and that'll save me from having to bleed and purge air when I go to reassemble. Pull our slide pins, save these guys over here for later. There we go. Number 2, right there. Pull this guy out and we can hang it right up here on our hanger, and that is where it will live. Hang please, get in there. All right, the passenger side has suffered a similar treatment. Let's run all the way back up some more and we'll go ahead and start draining some fluids out of this thing. Moving back up. Alrighty, we're up top. I've got the battery and battery tray removed. Let's go ahead, disconnect this ECM right here. We're gonna unbolt this. We're gonna disconnect the airbox system. Oh, look at here, a little ground wire. We'll disconnect the airbox, pull all this stuff out of the way, remove any components that are going to be an obstruction, and peel away the onion, so to speak. See a couple brackets over here, or a couple bolts and a bracket, I should say. So we'll just leave this thing, we'll leave that bolted in right there so we don't lose it. With so many bolts, I'm gonna start to put them back where I found them. That way I don't lose them later on. It's one of the many tactics to not lose your fasteners. I think this thing just pops on out of here. It's held in with some grommets and some plastic pegs. PCV hose. Release. Release now. Please release. Okay. I order you to release. There we go. Airbox gravity. Let's see, there's a evap hose down there. I'm going to disconnect that from the vent solenoid. That's held on with just a piece of rubber. We'll pop that guy off. without breaking the solenoid. Please come off. It started. Leverage in action. Let's go. Wiggle it. Yeah, we'll just give it some wiggles. It'll come out. There we go. And let's see, there's a fuel line here. I'll disconnect that from up top and then lay that aside. One little green clip. Pull that guy back. Fuel line disconnected. We'll swing that over to the side and tuck it behind this wire. It'll stay there until we need it later. Very good. Okay, let's slide over to the passenger side and we can remove some of this other equipment. We've got a coolant overflow surge bottle, some brackets for the power steering. I don't know if I need to remove the washer fluid bottle or not, but I'm gonna find out. Got one bolt right here. This guy slides off and we'll just set this off to the side. It looks like the power steering reservoir is gonna stay with the engine. Let's take that thing off, stick that aside. Probably need to suction all that out because there's some hoses running back that are gonna stay up here. While we're up here, I can go ahead and take the strut bolts off as well. Those are gonna be 15mm nuts. See if the 1/4 inch is gonna take them off. Kinda, barely kinda. Lubricant. That helped a little bit. So that 1/4 inch driver didn't have the kahunas, so we're doing a driveline socket with the 1/2 inch. There we go. Those are loose. We'll leave that alone. And back over here to the driver's side, 3 more nuts. Let's get that one in the back. That's the hard one. Come here. Let's not strip it. There we go. Hot. It's not working. My socket is too shallow. It's not working out. Okay, the big gun's too much. The little gun's not enough. Let's try the medium gun. Perfect. Leave that there for safety. Okay, I've got the vacuum tank out and I'm pulling the coolant out of the overflow surge bottle. Then I'm gonna move on, pull the power steering fluid out, and we'll start to disconnect this stuff once there's no fluid, because I don't wanna make a mess. Suction all that out of there. There we go. I'm gonna run this tube all the way down that upper radiator hose. It's gonna go as far down as I can get it. We're gonna suck out as much coolant as possible. Then we can start to disconnect all these hoses and whatnot. And I think I'm gonna disconnect the power steering right here with this hose and then suction all this out as well as this line right here. That way it's all completely dry. I don't wanna spill a bunch of stuff everywhere because my floor is cleaning. I wanna keep it that way. Come here, power steering line. You're coming with me. Give her a twist and a tug and a tug and a twist. I made a mess. That's not what I wanted to do. See that? Fail. Let's unring this bell right now. Get rid of all that. I don't want spilly drippages everywhere. Negative. Goodbye. Okay, trying again. We've evacuated all the coolant that I can through this upper hose. Let's pull this thing back off. Ooh, it's cold. Suction all this remaining power steering fluid out of here. There we go. Good mess prevention tactics. Power down. Now, seeing as how I have to remove the engine, I've also got to disconnect the AC compressor, so I'm going to go ahead and evacuate this system real quick. That way, when we have to go down below and disconnect the lines from the compressor, there's no refrigerant. This is the type of job where we're doing like 10 things at once because the coordination is required. So let's roll this machinery over here, get the system evacuated. Once that's done, I think I can go back up in the air. We'll pull the drive shaft out. It's got a rear drive shaft because this is in fact four-wheel drive. Then we'll work on the big bolts to hold everything together. There's a high side line, plug that guy in. All right, low side line coming in. We'll clip that guy on and begin the evacuation process. Open the valve. We don't have to make those tight. Don't crank them down, just turn them until they stop. Waiting, loading, waiting. I'll be back for you later. Oh, there we go, there we go. Recover. Yep, don't save, blah, blah, blah. Not electric compressor. Begin recovering now. Yes, okay, good to go. Okie dokes, way out back, we need to disconnect our heater core hoses. There's a bunch of coolant in there. We need to remove these guys from the firewall and evacuate all of that coolant as well. Let's see if I can't wiggle this guy off. Nah, it's not happening. Here, let's try it with the curvy, angular needle nose pliers. Let's give that a twist without poking a hole through the hose. We don't want to do that. Man, that's on there. There we go. Got her broken loose. Come on. Become removed. There we are. More suction. Good. Keep it going. We'll get this other clamp removed while that thing is suctioning. So I've got two machines suctioning on this Jeep. Bleeding it dry. No fluids left. That guy out. There we go, it moved. Oh, we need more suction. There we go, that's all of it. So I'm trying to see how this thing starts to settle once I loosen some of the mounts. I've pulled these 3 bolts loose. That's on the passenger side mount. It fell down a little bit. I have not disconnected them all the way. I wanted to come over here to this side and detach this mount from the transmission. So let's hit those big 18 mils and see if this thing's gonna drop down. I'm hoping it stays stable on that rear mount and on the front mount on the cross member. So there's 4 mounts total. We need to remove at least 2 of them. So let's kind of back these off. Let's see what this one does here. Okay, it's coming down some. Tell you what, I'm gonna put that one back in a little bit. We'll put this one back in a little bit. That one's not gonna go. All right, so that's 3 of the big bolts are loose. Let's get these pulled. That one's still in. Let's get that one pulled. See how far this thing wants to go down. Okay, those other 2 mounts have taken up all the weight. So this side is loose. I've also gone into the cabin and disconnected the steering gear from the steering shaft inside. It was 1 bolt and I pulled the carpet back, something very easily skipped. Anyway, so this mount is pretty loose. I'm gonna go ahead and pull these 2 bolts too just to remove this whole assembly. Why not? Yeah, since that's no longer supporting anything, no need to leave it there. Unclips. Oh, never mind, I lied. Look, there's another one way down there. I'm not even gonna mess with that. So there is a need to leave it there. The need of convenience. I should have known that 2 bolts wasn't enough. Silly Ray. I could pull this piece of the mount out, but again, really no need of it, so it's whatever. Okay, quick walkthrough recap. Coolant lines are disconnected. AC is discharged. I'll disconnect those lines down at the compressor. The trans lines are still here, but I need to lower this unit some. I'm just gonna unbolt them from the side of the transmission right here. The coolant lines, the lower hose is disconnected, the upper hose is disconnected. Everything up front is disconnected. Power steering's disconnected. So this thing is nearly free to come on down. Let's get it up in the air and start pulling drivetrain components out next. I know I've said that more than once and I kept getting distracted by other smaller things, but we're really gonna do it this time. All right, let's get this thing up in the air and we'll attack it from the underside next. See, look at that, all my efforts to not spill, and I'm spilling, still spilling. Could've been worse though, I tried. All the way up and all the way on the locks. Safety. Okay, so right here are the 2 trans lines I need to disconnect. We'll drop this down ever so slightly in order to do that. That mount stays there, that mount gets disconnected, the one in the back stays. And let's go ahead and disconnect some AC lines while we're down here. We'll do that next. This is gonna be fun. Gotta go up and around and down and onto those 13 millivolts up there. Nuts. Oh, unclick that one. There's just 2 of them, 2 lines. I'll disconnect the lines and let them kind of hang/dangle down. I said hangle, it's a new word. And once those are loose, we'll move out back and start with the other components. Again, rear drive shaft. I think the CV axles are gonna stay in for now because the whole suspension system is coming out with this drivetrain. We're actually removing the car. Yeah, I'm not removing the drivetrain, I'm removing the car from the drivetrain. So it's conceptually different, of course. Let's get that one off. Dirt falling. Get rid of that one there, that's good. Give this some wiggles. Come on, there we go. That was the vacuum put into the system by the machine. We'll hang that guy right there. And that other hard line, just kind of stick that off to the side. I'll just stuff it in the fan or something. There we go. Good. Let's go ahead and jump around again to confuse everybody and go ahead and pull the drain plug for the trans here and get all this nasty fluid out. I wonder if there's chunks of metal in it. Let's see what it's got here. Come on, fluid. This is a CVT, so the fluid will be dark or slightly off color. Oh, there's all kinds of stuff on the magnet. Yeah, that's not okay. Not horrible, but there's some metal in there. All right, let's let this thing drain for a while, and we'll go ahead and disassemble the rear drive shaft. All right, moving around back, here's our drive shaft. We've got a shield thing here. We've got a bracket here because it's a 2-piece shaft. Let's go ahead and pull this shield off because there's some bolts. Come on. Ah, it's not gonna work. I needed an extension. I was running out of angle. There we go. Next. Wrong. I needed to lose the extension. I was running out of torque. There we go. Okay, that's our little heat shield removed. Let's get that guy out. And that's the other bolt that we're looking for this carrier bearing. Okay, we're here at the rear differential. Here's the drive shaft. We've got 4, I think those are 13 or 14 millimeter nuts. Let's get our nuts off, and then you can drop the shaft out. Nut gravity, I see it. Let's rotate this thing around. Grab those other 2, get rid of those. There we go. Come on. So you needed encouragement. Come on. Epic fail. But that's fine. I'll just get a bigger gun. You lose, drive shaft, you lose. There we go. All right, let's flip back around. We'll get these bolts here at the carry bearing. Pull this guy down. 2 16 mil bolts. Whoa, my shaft is flopping. Danger, floppy shaft. Okay, let's get that other carrier bolt. I'm holding up the shaft with my my other arm here. Bear with me, we're gonna let this guy out. Down, down and out. And we just pull it out of that transfer case unit. There we go. She's out. And we'll just set this going right here. Perfect. Okay, drive shaft is out. Let's go ahead, disconnect the exhaust right here, and then we're ready to let this down, support the bottom of the drivetrain, and then we'll pick the car up off of it. But the question is, do these exhaust bolts come out, or do they not? We're gonna find out right about now. Hope they come out. I don't want to do torching exhaust work. Fling, yeah, that one came out. One more over here on the other side. You guys can't see, you can hear it. I can see it. Yeah, it's coming out. All the way, please, thank you. Got it, bolt number 2. All right, so now this exhaust is completely free from the drivetrain. We have limited and minimal obstructions, I think, at this point. Let's go ahead and clear out from under the car, and we'll let this thing down. Bust out the stands, and we'll start to support this drivetrain assembly. Okay, down below for a bit of an inspection. I've got the jack stands in position, 2 of them in the rear on the primary section of the subframe, 1 up front on that front member, and I've got another one hanging out by the engine oil pan that I'll stick some blocks of wood on top of to shim it up, just so the thing can't like rock left or right. So what I need to do is let this thing down until it contacts, and we'll start to pull the bolts out. Jeep coming down just a little bit. Contact. All right, coming in. Get our first couple bolts here. Really? All right, subframe bolts hold stagnant water. That's a new one. Money shot. Like that one, I'm covered in it. Okay, that's oh, that one's got a nut. I see. I also see that I don't need to disconnect that one. That's actually the control arm bolt. Tighten that back up. There we go. Okay, well that means the next bolt we need is gonna be right up in front of us, and I need to go through the lower control arm to get access to it. So let's run this extension up through there. That's gonna reach our fastener right here, and then I can unbolt it. Yeah, it's all starting to move. There we go. And we've got 2 more on the rear on the other side, and then a couple of them up front right here. So let's go ahead, move over to the other side and pull those guys out next. Let's see here, let's get that one first. Get rid of that. Stinks. One more subframe fastener right here. Loud. Ah, you didn't get me this time, you leaky bolt. Look at that. That's gross. Okay, so these last 2 right here, these are on that front facing cross member, and this thing should lower down about 1 inch when I take these lids unclicks. You hear me? Yep, coming down. And it is now contacting the stand. And we're leaking some fluid. Oh no. Let's throw a towel on it. There we go. Another towel. There. Alright, so that thing is mostly free. Let's hit the up button and see what this thing does. So what we're not going to do is just full send it and go on up. We need to move up just a little bit and then observe. Yep. I need to disconnect the struts again. Remember those 1 bolts that I left in? Those have to come out next. Oh, strut fell out. It's going to be the same thing over here on this side. Coming down. There we go. Okay, we are up a couple inches here. Everything appears to be disconnected and it's coming apart smoothly. I think we're ready to go ahead and initiate the lift and remove the car from the drivetrain. We've got this motor mount disconnected. There's some clearance for that to slip out. We have, actually, you know what? I'm gonna pull this mount out real quick because that's a little too close for comfort. Everything up front is disconnected, AC lines. The transmission lines right here are disconnected and those are set aside, so there's nothing on the front side holding it together, nothing on the driver's side holding it together, and everything on the rear side, including the ship cable, has been disconnected. So there's nothing connecting this drivetrain to this Jeep. So we're ready to go up with the exception of that 1 little motor mount. Yeah, there's 1 bolt. I think it's just 2 on this side. The other side was multiples, but I think this one is just the 2. It better be just the 2. Because I don't want to take out more than just the 2. And I think it is. Why? Come out, motor mount. Oh, where's the other one at? Oh, it's hiding back here. It's underneath of the washer fluid reservoir. Hang on. How's this thing come off? I thought I might have to remove that reservoir. Isn't that something? I guess I was right. Here, real quick, 13 action. Pop that thing off. You go up there where you belong. Yeah, there it is. There's that hidden bolt. I see you. Come here. Rapid unclips. And I'm losing it. In more ways than one. Okay. There, that's a little bit more space. That's better. We'll put that down here. Get the tools out of here. Now we're going to go up a couple inches, then we will go back and re-inspect again. Again, we don't want to make sure anything is connected or it gets hooked on, because that's how we tear things that are hard to replace, like ground cables. Right here's a perfect example. See that? Oops. Starting to get caught on the strut, so we need to make sure that that's free. And I'll just do a walk around again, taking a look for things that are stuck, which I see none. Nothing's in the way. Check this strut here, we're looking good. Let us continue the lift. A couple more inches. Green subscribe button. No, what was that? Sounded like plastic, and I think it was this cross member escaping right here. All right, so we're still good. Again, I see nothing dangling. All the ground wires have been pulled. Yep, looking good here. There's an AC line that just, I think is caught up. Let's pull this guy out real quick. Leave that on top. Yep, looking good. Let's go ahead and lift it some more. Removing Jeep. Lauren's like, what are you doing? Hey, what do you think about this? That's some stuff you've never seen before. See, this is the easy part. The hard part's putting all these pieces back together. What do you think about that? You're like, huh?
I don't know anything about
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing either, so that makes two of us. All right, now that was the easy part. The hard part is going to be pulling the starter motor off of this unit. We'll get the torque converter bolts out, and I think the starter's, oh, it's over here. Yeah, so I've got to pull the intake manifold off. Intake off, starter out, torque converter bolts out. Then I can pull the bell housing bolts out of the transmission. We'll hook the transmission and or engine up to the engine lift. We'll pick the thing up off of the subframe, switch it out with the new unit, which is over there in the box. After removing this four-wheel drive unit right here, bolting this onto the new unit, then we can get it all prepped and prepared for reassembly. I'm going to save all that action for another video because I'm a little worn out. This took a very large amount of time. I think I'm done with this particular project for the day. So that being said, as always, I'd like to thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I've showed you something you've never seen before. If you did enjoy this video or have not seen such an operation, please feel free to let me know about that by tapping that like button down below. Drop me a comment or two while you're down there. And before you go, please do not forget to have yourselves a great day. See you guys later. End of Jeep, Chrysler, Fiat, transmission. That was a literal one too, because this really is the end of the transmission. Ha 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 ha. See what I did there? Funny. Dad jokes.